Yeah, check, check.
Just an hour.
Just need you pouring.
Just come to the meeting?
You gotta go do that. It's your first.
Right.
All right, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. The 6 or 5. 5:30, yeah. Yep. We have roll call, please.
Board Member Ramsey Corey. Board Member Rosa Gonzalez. Not present. Board Member Rose Robertson.
Here.
Board Member Nick Sahota. Board Member Karan Singh. Board Member Mateo Rodriguez. Board Member Irene Vasquez. Not here. Board Chair Richard Braden.
Here.
And Board Member Isabel Vargas. Not here. We have quorum.
Nick, could you lead us in the flag salute, please?
Absolutely.
Okay. Minutes were mailed out with the agenda, so I can take a motion. They're in the deck here. Or do you want to discuss anything? I think we had an income of 3750. Bringing the Indian balance to 41,707.17. I'm sorry, I'm talking about the financial report. The minutes, I'm sorry.
Do you have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Motion made by Ramza, second by Rose, correct?
Correct. Now we come to the financials.
Yes, you, on the financial sheet, you're gonna see up to 7/31/2026. This includes the bid assessment fees that have been rolling in with businesses, with their business licenses. The other thing you're gonna notice, and I spoke to the finance department, this is now reflective of the transfer, our yearly budget transfer. That's correct, right, Heather? Our 15,000? Yeah, so our allocated 15,000 is now transferred into our bid account. So that was approved, approved budget item. And for clarity, you're gonna see your ending balance at $241,701. That includes the $100,000 that was allocated for the facade improvement grant. So that's the grand total of everything that's in that budget, in that line item.
And that's the subtraction of everything we've purchased so far, correct?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything really pending other than the benches were just approved and sent off so that you were gonna see that come out of the budget soon. Other than that, there's been really no expenses since our events are over. I'm trying to think of.
Quickly, I'm just trying to remember, the amount for that was 20.
It was in the 20s, yeah.
20s. Okay,
Yeah.
it's coming to me, but not,
Yeah.
not the exact amount. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So that's the only thing that we were approved to move forward with is the new benches. And I just sent our vendor the approval and they're going to be moving forward with that. So we'll see that shortly. But there are no other major pending purchases.
Any other questions? Call for a motion to approve.
I make a motion.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved.
And for clarity, it was motion by Rose, second by Mateo, correct? Thank you. Thank you.
This is a time for public comment to address the commission on any issues appearing on the agenda this evening, limited to 5 minutes. Ready?
And I see no hands raised in the chat as well.
Okay, none? Okay, so this is the time to, for members of the audience to speak on any other thing that's not appearing on tonight's agenda. Limited time would be 5 minutes. Go into the regular business. We have a discussion item on the number 5.
Yes, so discussion item 1 is the Sparks Selma Ice Skating Rink presentation. At the direction of City Council, staff has been evaluating what a temporary outdoor holiday ice skating rink would look like for the 2026 holiday season. The project would be in the downtown area, which is close to Lincoln Park. This attraction could potentially draw a lot more people to the downtown space. The project's under consideration. It's going to be presented to council tomorrow with 2 vendors providing quotes through the bid process. And I invited Acting Director Matthew Tiger here to kind of go over the project a little bit and for us to kind of brainstorm to see what a collaboration would look like and how that could help promote the downtown space and encourage folks to come down to eat, dine, and be entertained. And that's kind of what Matthew's gonna lay out for us right now.
Good evening, board members. Like Jose mentioned, this is a project that's been instructed by council to go out and look, and it's going to be formally going to city council tomorrow. And so we'll have a little bit more information after that, but we wanted to bring it to you first because it is going to be going towards Lincoln Park in front of the library. And so with that becomes an ability for a partnership to form in that event. An ice skating rink is a unique event that could come to Selma. And with that, it provides a lot more opportunity for a partnership through different events like a winter wonderland where you guys maybe have a shopping discount for people who went to the ice skating rink, right? Or maybe it's different involvement through different ways, which me and Jose have been kind of working on different packages because this is new to us as well. And so we're trying to figure out the best way to kind of figure out these partnerships with local entities and different businesses. And with that, the projects that we kind of have right now are 2 different ones. One's from Premier Rinks and one was from Ice America. The Premier Rink was for 170,000, but that was very fluffed and to make it look better. So that would require us providing the fuel, generator, lighting, fencing, pretty much almost everything that has to do with the ice rink other than the rink and the delivery itself. And so that's what that 170 represents. Ice America is the more in-depth bid that we received, and that one was for 230 at the cheapest level, which include the ice rink installation, skates. And with this bid, we're able to kind of pick and choose what we don't need based off of what we already have as a city-owned entity. So like there's different options on there that we can kind of go through, and we will if this progresses and kind of see what we don't need and what we do need. The main purpose of this is, as you can see here, this is the location, creating a way to draw more business. So not to just to keep that event localized into that space, but to also incorporate our downtown, right? We have our Santa's parade that comes through downtown as well. And so we want to do things that can also benefit you guys in partnership. And that way we can have a collaboration just so the city, this is a big event that could come. And with that, it could bring a lot of business, a lot of different people from outside of the city as well. And so with that, it just becomes there's a lot of partnership opportunities that come with that. With that being said, I can answer any questions you guys kind of have, or you guys can just kind of discuss amongst yourself.
For context, everyone, this is the library right here where I'm pointing at, right, Matt? That's library. And then this is the senior center right here. So this is the space between those right there. This is Selma Street, and then right here is Mill Street. And the Christian Cafe is over here where this arrow is at. So to give you guys a little bit of aerial context.
Yeah, so this would be a 2-week temporary event, so it would just be for the winter season. The proposed dates right now are December 5th through the 18th. Gonna put it in there. So what it is it's a sandbox, and then what they do is they provide a mat. I'm not exactly sure the science behind it, but then they basically wet it, freeze it, and then it stays frozen for that whole 2-week duration. So in the bid, there's actually a revenue section where it shows how many people can be in this rink at once and how many, it has a quote on there as well for how much we could do if the rink is sold out consistently. I believe it was around 190, it might be way over. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it does provide in there a potential amount of revenue based off of the sizing of the rink and how many participants can be in that 4-hour duration per day. No, we would charge, we're still working on pricing. It'd be probably between $15 and $20 for an hour of skating and then $5 for a skate rental. Hanford has one, Fresno has one. They actually use Ice America, which is the quote, which is the bid right in front of you guys. And then Kingsburg does theirs biannually. I know that's not how you pronounce it, but I'm not sure if it's on year for this year or not.
Going to be any events alongside it, like on the weekends or high traffic area times?
Yeah, so the point of opening it on the 5th was to kind of coincide with that Santa's parade, to kind of coincide with that. And then the next, we can do a winter wonderland type of thing on the weekends where we bring in different vendors, make it a whole event, because ice skating is going to be the big attraction, right? But only so many people can skate. Some people don't like to skate. How do we bring those people out? Just give it a good holiday feel, bring out different vendors, make it an environment, basically. Yeah, so the conversation that's been had has been closing Mill Street and Selma Street completely and then filling those with food trucks and different, and then we can even put pop-ups in the actual park itself.
So we, as the bid, we have some money that's been allocated, not by out asking for donations to the residents, the businesses, but because we have a new council who is willing to allocate money in, so we as a board can work towards events for our community. Once again, this will be another win-win for our community, a win-win for our kids. This will be something really special for Selma. Selma deserves to have something really nice like this. Selma residents don't always need to go to Hanford. They don't always need to go to Fowler. They don't always need to go to Fresno. This is exactly what our residents, who actually pay the salaries of many city employees. So when we partnership, we want a partnership with a bang. We want to be able to say, our kids deserve it. This is not only going to bring revenue to our city for us to make revenue to put right back in our bid or whoever partnerships. This is also going to be a win-win for businesses, because at the end of the day, it's going to showcase once again, put Selma on the maps. And guess what? People are going to be all over this event and they're going to be walking all over Selma. So now people from other cities come to our city for these events. They put gas, they're going to go eat at restaurants afterwards. They're going to get together with family members. We've been talking to a lot of people about this, and this is huge. And I mean huge for Selma. Families are already talking about having family reunions here. When that happens, kids will be on vacation. As a matter of fact, I wanted to double check. I said, oh, well, guess what? We have a school board month. I'll check and see if the kids are on vacation at that time. Do you know if they are 1 week? During that time, they are. So I know parents have been talking about, you're going to see some little family reunions here. They're going to make it big. And when they say that, they follow through. So again, it's going to not only showcase Selma as a whole, it's going to showcase we board members who are business owners to want to be very creative and think outside the box of what we can do now. We can be a partnership and help with this. And we could also have our own booth. And I think in a way, we let the business owners know who are in the bid. This is what we did. We as a board can be creative in how to bring in some of these businesses that have kind of not been too positive, hasn't been a whole lot of them, but just that few. And we could say, hey, look, this is what we can do for you when we have this event. We can showcase who you are. And this is how we do it, however we come up with and say, since a certain amount's going to come out of the bid to partnership with the city of Selma, then we become creative and say, for example, we give Karan, if you're one of the complainers, I don't know, I'm just saying. Karan's a complainer because he has to pay a certain amount. Then we say, hey, Karan, this is what we're going to do for you. It just depends. Say we have 20 complainers and we only could do 10 because we come up with a really neat way of showcasing what your business is for 2 weeks out there. This is what we're going to do for you. All you have to do is come out here and showcase however you want, but this is going to be your section because you're part of the bid. This is our way to show the business owners this is what the bid does. We are making history, and so will you. So that is just my input, and I'm always going to think outside the box. I'm one of those people. I'm a gambler when it comes to business because let me tell you, when it comes to the kids, with everything going on that's negative for our kids right now, and what's out there that's negative for the kids, we need to shuffle them back in and be with families and be together as a community together. We need to all put your part in it and come together for the kids. Thank you.
I just have a question. I mean, I believe this is an awesome idea. I love skating and I haven't since I moved to Selma because I don't want to drive to Fresno. When I was in Orange County, I skated all the time. So to me, this is awesome. But my understanding is last day of instructions is December 18th. The kids take their Christmas break or their winter break that day. And then they'll be off for the 3 weeks after that. What is the cost to extend it few more days past the
I don't know off the top of my head. I would have to ask. So these are, when we go out for bids, we have to give them a specific thing. So every company gets the exact same bid.
Okay.
And so that's why it was for that. But if we end up going with them, they're a very flexible company. They work with a lot of municipalities, which is why we kind of like them more, which I'm sure they'll be able to work with us on if we need to.
Can you give us the date range again, really quick, that you initially were quoted on?
So he said 5th through the 18th.
5th through the 18th is correct.
Yeah, because the winter break starts on the 21st.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking if there's a possibility to extend it for the kids that, probably were busy with finals, or I'm not sure, what happens during the last 2 weeks.
Fifth
But
parade, is that why? The fifth
yeah,
is the
the
parade.
5th is the parade, but maybe take it through the weekend instead of stopping it on Friday. Like give till the 20th or possibly a couple more days since everybody will be on Christmas break leading up to Christmas. I think if we take it down on the 18th, that's a little too soon. And we're gonna hear people that were busy with school not be happy maybe, or say, oh, we missed out because this was too
All the
short
days.
and we didn't know. Just a thought since, thank you.
Yeah, we can always check, like I said, if this is the direction we end up going, we can always check with them and see what that pricing is, if it changes drastically, if it doesn't change at all. A lot of them have their set pricing, but because we gave them that 2 week duration, that's just what they came back with.
Yeah, I think honestly, making it a whole venue and event, not just the ice skating, having food vendors, desserts, even crafts, gifts, but things that don't compete with existing vendors in downtown, or maybe those business owners in downtown would like to have a booth closer to the ring. That would be fun. I mean, yeah, just like a Hallmark movie in a way, where a lot of those people come to downtown to kind of do their shopping and the kids can skate and have fun and take some photos, make some memories. I think it'll be really fun.
Yeah, the thought process behind it is to do more of a winter wonderland type of thing. And so that is the idea, to give it, it's more than just the ice rink. We want a whole experience, right? Because like a rink is one thing, right? But if you give them that whole winter experience that we don't normally get here in the Central Valley with our heat and everything, kind of giving them that immersion feeling of winter is kind of the
Right.
goal of that.
Yeah.
I think what just that said, what comes to me is even if, of course, we're all looking at the areas and everything, maybe we move it to the Mill Street, maybe that showcases more, whether it's the ice rink or something, because you got to remember when we're driving off Second Street, there's at least, if we ever did some kind of, statistic or something, and shows at least 30 to 40% of the people are not on Facebook or on their social media. So the way they're able to see anything that's sometimes going on in Selma is by driving by, and they're going to look right off, well, what's going on there? They're going to go park and probably start coming back and walking around. That's a good percentage. I can't give you the exact amount, but I talked to so many people, and they're not on social media at all. Neither are their kids. So it's just thinking outside the box. How do we really showcase this? And again, I hope we can continue to talk about this if we all as a community move forward. And another way is get sponsorships. Even I'd probably be willing to do it depending on how many trees there are, and get those wrapped by each company, that because lights are not really that expensive. Just exactly what you're saying. Make it a winter wonderland for those kids. I can guarantee you, I know a nice percentage of the kids here that never leave Selma. They'll never leave Selma. This is going to be their Disneyland. This is going to be something they talk about to their kids that they never forgot. And hopefully that Selma continues to bring in big revenue in the future, but they'll keep it to happen every year or every 2 years or whatever it is. Because guess what? Selma could afford it. Thank you.
In discussion, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Mr. Robertson, this is a great idea, no doubt. We do need them. I respect that. My thought is that I think our cities need more important things that we needs to be take care. $170,000 or $230,000 for 2 weeks. I think, in my opinion, just only me from mine. And I think we need to do more, maybe Friday events, and maybe we could do some in the winters. And maybe we need to do the alleys. City of Selma's alleys are pretty bad. We could have improved some of those alleys works, and we could do more parks, put more trees in the park, like Lincoln Parks. We need more trees out there. And these kind of things, the parks, and we could do concrete improvements, brokens. There's a tons of work that City of Selma needs. Yes, I love it and it looks good. We do need them, but I think if we could have maybe the third party could come and do these kind of things and charge our peoples, and I rather do it that way because I think that money, the city is very limited to our budget. We have pretty barely budget for city to run this business at 175,000, 230, whatever it's. it's gonna be a little bit tough having to be these kind of things. We're already doing it slowly at the bid, doing the Friday events. People love it. I think we need to make more awareness. Putting these 2 weeks, in my opinion, I think is costing gonna be a lot for to be figuring out this money. So this is just my 1 cent, so.
I appreciate that, Nick. I attend these council meetings and I attend the workshops to the budget meetings. And I know exactly what's in there. And so for you to say that they don't have the money for it, there's different kind of accounts for road repair. There's it's all different. This is money that's already allocated into the bid. This is what I'm talking about. It's all allocated in there from attending the budget meetings, the budget meetings that take a long time. I mean, you do them too, right? And a matter of fact, we had a council member that mentioned that they were going to go to the school district since it's for the kids. They were going to see if you guys were going to partnership and would like to partnership with your nice big $190 million budget of revenue that you guys receive. So, a little portion would be great to help out with this, but I've kind of been watching your meetings and nobody ever even brought it up to even put on the agenda to discuss. So maybe if you guys hurry it up, you guys can maybe still have a little opportunity to help out all the kids in our city. I don't know if you know this or if you're staying on top of anything, but we've had fentanyl overdoses. We've had a lot of really negative things happening in our community. It's time to show the kids that we leaders, just commissioners that are on these boards, we have public safety here today. We need to just start showing that we care about our citizens and most of all, our families and most of all, the kids. You got to start saying yes for the kids. This is something that's going to make history and we should do it. There's always going to be revenue coming in for all that and grants. A matter of fact, another thing that's coming to me when I attend the council meetings, guess what? They're looking at maybe hiring a grant writer. So yeah, we're going to start looking at other ways on top of already, hopefully, a lot of that revenue that's coming in. I don't know if you know this or not, but there's a lot of homes coming in. They're called Lennars. They're out to it's right there by the middle school. I mean, you do attend some of these schools, I bet, for events and anything, but you'll see all these homes coming in. That's going to bring revenue not only for the city, but it's also going to be revenue for the school district. So I think with that, there's always revenue coming in. So once in a while, we just got to do it for the kids and, show them that we care. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for the discussion. Good conversation, good discussion happening. I just want to redirect everybody back to the discussion points. It's what this could potentially look like if we partnered with Sparks for the sponsorship. To debate the value of it, we're talking about the bid budget, the allocated budget that we do have, what a sponsorship would look like in collaboration with you guys, and how it could benefit the businesses. I kind of want to redirect that. And Rams had some really good points of like, hey, incorporating business, move, you can have a stand downtown. I'm looking for more of that. Like, what does it look like to where these downtown businesses would benefit from an ice rink? I mean, because this still has to go to council and there are things that still need to happen. But really the conversation should be around what can we do to capitalize on a project that's going to bring people downtown? And I just want to redirect that.
I had some questions for Director Tiger. So are there do you know by chance the limitations of what you can put down on the ice? So like say for instance at arenas they put down logos all the time. Is there a possibility that we could put those in there?
So I know with Ice America, they have the projectors that project images onto the ice, but that would require using their lighting system, which was an extra $22,000. And so we didn't choose to go that route.
Okay.
So, but you bring up a good point is that we can put banners on the external part. That's correct, right?
Yeah. So there's a couple of things. One was the rink name sponsor. So I mean, I don't know about how much you do it. I'd go try to get someone for 10 grand to like say, hey, for this 2 weeks, this is, I don't know, KFC rink or whatever, anything. And so you get a big name sponsor like that, somebody who's going to benefit a lot, the auto mall, something like that. They'll be, I'm pretty sure somebody's going to do it and invite. You get individual day sponsors. So like for the weekend, you invite especially car dealerships to go over there and have a few representatives and pass out cards and tell them, hey, for this day, it's Selma Autumn all day. It's 5 grand. You can come out here. That's the name of this event. We'll do it for you. There's another few $1,000s, make it possible. And then in terms of like local businesses and attracting people from the rink to the businesses for bid, or some ideas were like skate and dine packages where you have restaurants do like, hey, we'll, hey, if they come over here, spend so much money, they get a skate package too or whatever. $5 bid vouchers from us. So like we would essentially just do $5 bid vouchers, however many we decide. And then whoever goes to skate either on certain days or certain times, then they receive a $5 bid voucher to use downtown at a local businesses. So it attracts people to go to those businesses. Or the reverse, you spend a certain amount of money or whatever the business decides and receive, either a free skate rental or a half off skating. So you're going back and forth, for those. So that it's just little ways to either create revenue and then also a way for us to either sponsor or, help out to downtown businesses and to help downtown businesses benefit from the skating rink coming to Selma.
Yeah, 100%. Like I mentioned earlier, me and Director Moreno have been working on some different packages for those big name sponsors like you mentioned, but also for some of our mom and pop shops that we have around town. And so we're still working on packages to kind of encompass everyone and get that really community involvement that we believe we'll have with this type of event.
Also depending on the sponsorship, it's just making me think about the Tejano time when they would purchase a table, they would get 10 tickets, with some kind of VIP parking within the Pioneer Village. But, depending on what sponsorship, then they're again, going back to like what Matthew's saying, they get a certain amount of free tickets to give out to their family members, their kids, their employees, whatever. But it also could also be a packet on depending on how huge their sponsorship is.
Or pre-sale tickets to businesses so they can give away.
The thing.
With Ice America, yes. With Premier Rinks, no, we would have to get our own special event. And from what I've been told, getting ice skating rink insurance is pretty expensive due to the blades and just the nature of the natural risk in it.
Part of their cost in that proposal.
Yes, that's correct.
I just want to bring it back to your questions about the school district. I'm pretty sure in our board meetings is open for the publics to come there. There's a meeting tomorrow. If you want to come out there, mention to the board members, we'll be happy to hear it. And if boards buy it, go for it. And I love to be, see the cities making anything improvements, and I'm always in favor of it. And far as the fentanyl's awareness or drugs awareness, we're doing as much as events we can. And we have spent over $70 million on school improvements within the last 6-7 years. And you could walk to those schools, the new bathrooms, new roofings, new offices, tons of stuff that we're doing out there as we are. So we totally are for the kids, and we do lots of things for the kids. So if there's more things we could do it, we'd love to do it. And you are welcome anytime.
Public comment?
Stella Ramirez, I'm a resident. I agree. I think that we should bring this into town because it is for the kids as well as for adults. And these are, memories that they're going to remember for the rest of their lives. It's like when I was a young child, I remember that they had a swimming pool over in the Barrio, Salazar Park. And I used to go swimming over there all the time. And, I have those fond memories, those nice memories of that. And I can still remember it to this day. So these kids are going to be able to, to go to this rink and skate. And when they get older, they're going to remember all that. And I agree with Mrs. Robertson when she said that, there is a lot of things out there going on, fentanyl and everything. And this is something for them to do rather than to go the wrong way. Let's, get into a gang or start doing drugs or doing whatever they got to do. This will, take them away from that and bring them to something that's positive. And because kids get bored, they don't know what to do during the summer vacation or during the winter vacation. And this is something positive for them to do. So I really, I'm for this. And I hope that it does happen. It will definitely put us on the map. Towns will come, different towns, Parlier, again, surrounding towns, Sanger, Kingsburg, Fowler, all of those, because it's just like our Selma events. They come to those. When we had Pepe Marquez, we had John, the country singer, come in. They came in from all over, from Kingsburg. So it's definitely, I think, also going to be good. Like she said, a win-win for everyone. Families, the kids, us, puts us in the map, puts, businesses, we can have that Wonderland, theme going on. Maybe businesses can go out there and promote their businesses out there, serve chocolate, sell chocolate, and, it'll be really nice. Have some lights up there, giving it that whole hallmark look. So I'm definitely for this. And then maybe we can bring the Christmas trees that we had downtown and put that out there, around that area, decorate it even more. So I think it's going to be really, really nice. Something that nobody has done in this area. Not Reedley, not Sanger, not Parlier, no one. And this will definitely be something good, positive for our city. Thank you.
So is this the time where, or do we bring this back for an agenda item? Would this be the time to get the consensus on a certain amount?
I think
or-
at the end of the meeting, we
The
can
end of the
do
meeting.
for
Oh, thank
future
you.
agenda items, because at this point, we don't, yeah, it's a discussion and we don't know, which quote will go through, or if it does go through. I really wanted to bring this, put on the table because we're kind of short on time, and I wanted to make sure that you guys had eyes on this before it starts evolving, if it does get approved. So then I wanted you guys to get all the information you can from our director right now. So it's really just a discussion. So that's all it was.
Item 2.
Thank you. So the first thing I'm going to discuss is the Clean California grant that
Switch
we
out for a
received.
Let's switch out the mic.
$1,000. I think you do it on purpose. So the $300,000 grant that we received from the state for the Clean California project, I want to go over a couple of things. The first thing that I want to make sure everybody's clear on is that this is a match grant. That means that we didn't just get $300,000. The state will match what we're purchasing in like or kind. So basically, there's a list of what the grant can be used for, which I'll go over those real quick. And these are very specific. One thing that came up in council recently, we've reached out to the state, found out that the question was asked by council, if I could back up for a second. Can we use the grant to paint buildings in the downtown district? So I reached out to state of California. They wanted a little more information about exactly where, what building. Are you painting a mural? Are you just painting the aesthetics of the building? And what we got in return from them once they received all the information was that we could probably use it to paint a building, but we were going to have to do an amendment to the original grant application because we didn't include painting buildings as part of our grant application. The way the grant works, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, is the way that you place your letter of intent or your LOI with the state is very descriptive as to what you want to use the money for. If you're awarded the grant, your grant contract, your agreement will come back with basically their language saying the exact same thing that you said that you were applying for the grant for. So it's, you can't just use it for whatever you want. So real quickly, these are the bullet points of what we can use the grant for. Community-led cleanup events with the Selma Beautification Committee for litter and graffiti removal. And remember, this is just in the downtown district. Planting of new street trees and planters along Second Street and downtown intersections to restore canopy coverage, mitigate heat, and deter future blight. The third bullet point, installation of SB 1383 compliant trash receptacles, which we rolled out about 4 weeks ago in the downtown area, I believe 10 receptacles. Benches, which we spoke about tonight. I think you said, Jose, that you have an order that's been placed with the vendor
Yes. I
for the
think-
benches. So it will cover benches. It covers trash cans. Wayfinding signage, which is signage like as you come across Whitson, a big like blue sign with white arrows and says City Hall this way, Fire Admin this way, Art Center this way. Those are the wayfinding signs, so we'll pay for that. But they have to be consistent with the downtown cultural arts criteria, those wayfinding signs do. Quick build ADA access fixes, including sidewalk, uplifting, grinding, and tactical dome replacement, improving pedestrian safety and mobility. And the final bullet point is public art integration through murals, banners, and artist design furnishings, celebrating local culture. So those are the items that basically are in the letter of intent and the grant acceptance letter for what we can use those for. So for an example, I don't know what the, I'm just gonna throw numbers out there. So say the garbage cans cost us $5,000. When we submit that pay app to the state, they will reimburse us $2,500. When we ordered the benches, say the benches cost $6,000, we submit that. Once we receive it, we submit the pay app where it shows we paid the $6,000, they'll reimburse us $3,000. So that is how this grant can be used. One thing I want to show you real quick, it is very specific to the downtown area that can be used. I think I'm back here at the end. I've got a map here. I'll just show you guys real quick. Back here. Okay, here we go. So this is the area that we are allowed to use the grant money in. This is East Front, Second Street from High Street going west to East Front going north and south for a short distance. And then the other side of Second Street, or I'm sorry, the other side of East Front Street, where we're doing our Clean California grant, which is the $3 million beautification project, which that takes care of basically everything that's in the red. That's part of the $3 million project. The blue area is basically the area that this grant was specifically identified for. And this grant, the letter of intent was written by the previous Assistant City Manager, Jerome Keene. And it was for very specific what we were trying to do to tie the $3 million off-ramp project to West Front Street. We wanted to tie that in with what we've already done on High Street as far as the planters, the trees. We also have in the works to redo the parking lot on First and High Street to mimic or match what is on High Street with the new planters. Same type of plants, those big trees are getting removed, new concrete curb, all that stuff. So any questions on the Clean California grant?
I think you were talking too fast for me as I'm trying to comprehend everything, but help me understand. When you're saying Second Street, it goes all the way from Second Street where it hits Mill Street and High Street and then to
No,
West Front? No?
no, it's
When you're saying
specifically
Second Street, where exactly?
from High Street going west towards the freeway.
Right.
Yeah.
So that would be all not the entire Second Street, but
So
right in front of.
here's High Street at the top.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's all of Second Street going back to East Front
yeah.
Street.
There's where G's used to be, the antique shop.
Right.
All that. Okay, perfect.
Right.
Okay, so when right here, it says beautification and infrastructure.
Yes.
Help me understand it, where what you're talking about, putting the plant holders with the cafe lights, is
Mhm.
that included in the infrastructure
So-
part, or what? What
No.
does that fall under that?
So the lighting that it speaks of as far as infrastructure is actually the street lights. So the Hollywood lights.
Okay.
If we
okay.
want to replace those, because like the off-ramp Second Street, SR 99 project, we are going with Von Roche solar lights. It was a $380,000 cost savings to the city.
Mhm.
No infrastructure, 25-year warranty, all that good stuff. So the council actually saw when Von Roche did their presentation, there were 2 or 3 different fixtures that they could choose from. So they picked the fixture that they liked, the hanging fixture. And this is in my opinion, but in my opinion, what we were working towards was uniformity in the downtown district. Street signs with our downtown logo, things that identify, hey, you can just look and say, I'm in the downtown district. So blending the lighting in as far as the infrastructure wording goes in this agreement was to replace those Hollywoods to match what's coming from 99 up to East Front Street, basically. So
So-
it's trying to tie all that together. And I could also say, if I could really quick, Ms. Robertson, I have funding budgeted in my fiscal budget this year to remove one of our 3 arc circuits, which you've all heard me talk about the arc circuits. They're dangerous. There's no conductors in between. It's a daisy chain. A car hits a pole, it can light the car up. So the first 13 lights that I have funding for will also, it's in the downtown district, but it will also incorporate those same Von Roche solar lights that we'll be replacing to match coming off of SR 99 and for this Second Street stuff that we're speaking of. That starts right on the other side of Mill Street, adjacent to the library, comes across Mill Street and continues all the way down Third right here to East Front and turns and goes down East Front. There's 13 lights on that circuit. So those are also getting replaced. But again, going back to the unification, and it's easier and cheaper, more sustainable for us to maintain infrastructure if it's uniform. When I have 5 different types of lights and I have to go stock 5 different types of fixtures, light heads, whatever, fuses, whatever it is, it makes it extremely difficult for Public Works to maintain that infrastructure. So that was part of the idea going forward. And it started with the SR 99 project with trying to go with more uniform fixtures, benches, trash cans, all of those things so that they're easily replaceable or fixable from Public Works. So it does include lighting infrastructure to your question, but this was the fixed streetlights. We can inquire whether we can do cafe lights, but I think that's something that I'll again have to reach back out to my lead from the state and ask, like, because we didn't specifically put cafe lights, that's how specific the grant applications are. And when it comes to reporting, what we don't want to do is do something that wasn't specifically stated in the application and then not get reimbursed for it and just be out the money.
So
So-
we, at our last meeting, we voted in to purchase some of those lights for Christmas time that if I'm understanding all this correctly, they will be connected to the lights. Now I'm wondering if that would fall under where we could get reimbursed as well. Once you see those, maybe Jose can show you if that would be something also that would be reimbursed because it's off of,
Yeah.
you know, within the bid. Just look at it. I mean, it'd be
Yeah.
something we could get back as well.
I have no problem reaching out to my contact with the state. She's very amicable and very open to conversation. She's my go-to because I don't know those answers. So I just go and, hey, this is what the questions are being asked. Is this an option under this category per the grant application? And she'll get back to me within a week or 2. So definitely, I mean, there's a lot of options there. I just wanted to go over what was very specifically stated in the grant application.
Thank
And
you.
for signage, is it just the directional signs or street signs as well? Because we talked about reprinting the downtown street signs with the logo. I'm not sure at what point that will happen, but is that included under signage or is it only for the direction?
So that was another one of the many updates that I was asked to give tonight at this meeting by our Director Moreno. So you are correct, Ramza. All of the downtown district street signs will not be blue with white letters, and this is per council's vote. They agreed, they liked it. They will be white reflective backing with blue letters, and then it will have the address, the street number, and the downtown logo in the top right-hand corner. So I'll just go ahead and jump into my street sign replacement and where we're at with that. We're about halfway through the 7th district. We have a total of 10 districts. The next district, we're moving from 7 to District 10, which is the downtown district. And we're doing that specifically to try to get in front of the projects that we're discussing tonight and the big SR 99 project, because that's going to really mess with traffic. That's going to be a big project. So we will be working on that as soon as we finish District 7, which I'm hoping is in the next couple of months. Per what we put out during our budget workshops to council, as far as that discussion, was that we would be done with District 7 and that whatever district was next, which we assumed would be 8, by the end of the fiscal year. So by July of 2027, we should have all of District 7 finished and all of the downtown district, which is District 10, finished as well with the new signs. So,
Thank
and
you.
if any of you haven't seen the sign, I actually have a full size printed in the back. I can bring it in here and let you guys take a look at it if you haven't seen it. It's pretty cool, actually.
We've seen it. I'm not sure if somebody was
Yeah.
in at that meeting, but you brought it.
So the other thing that's kind of positive about the downtown district, District 10 signs is that right now, currently, all of the blue ink that you see on our street signs, that's all printed ink. When we get our reflective material, that material comes clear white reflective. So what takes us about 45 minutes currently to print a street sign, these signs with less actual colored printing, I'm hoping expedites how quickly we're turning those signs out because there's less printing. So I'm hoping that we can move through the downtown district rather quickly. The one thing to keep in mind is that downtown district, like right here, McCall and High Street, those are huge signs. Those are not your typical little small signs. So we've already ordered the blank aluminum. They call them blanks. It's just a blank aluminum that we print and then laminate the sign to. So we've already actually started procuring all of that material. So we should be good to go on that.
Thank you.
Sure. Alley cleanup and weed removal. I heard you bring up some alleys earlier too, Nick. Just so you know, we just bid. We had 8 bidders on Tuesday or Thursday, I'm sorry, of last week. We had 8 bidders for our next alley project, which includes 3 alleys. We will be adding storm drain and V gutter to actually drain them appropriately, and they will all be paved. All of Cal Water's work that they're doing off of McCall and they're just north of Aaron's now. That is actually a relocation of a lot of the existing mains that are in the alleys. Cal Water is trying to get away from that. They want their infrastructure out in front of the homes and not in the alleys. And that's great news for us because we're back to alley trash cleanup and you have 80,000-pound trucks driving through there, very little clearance over services. They have a lot of breaks and leaks, old infrastructure. So they're working on that. About 3 months ago, right after we finished the storm drain maintenance program for the winter, we actually moved into alley cleanup. We started over in the Salazar district, kind of moved through the whole town, and we went through and mowed and abated all the weeds, picked up trash. So we've kind of wrapped up that alley as far as public works goes, our annual cleanup, and we do that every year. We try to go through the alleys with our street crew. Takes us about 3 to 4 weeks to get through all of them, but they're looking a lot better. And as we continue working with city engineer David Horn through our alley maintenance program, which is tied to our street maintenance program, we'll continue allocating funding for storm drainage improvements removing cross connections with sewer, water, storm drain going to sewer and some of that stuff. So that's moving along well. I have to be honest, David Horn, Yamabe and Horn is a third-party engineering firm, but I can't speak enough about, in the 3 years that I've been here, which in a month and a half will actually be 3 years already, what Yamabe and Horn has done working with the city to implement street maintenance, storm drain maintenance, update GIS maps. They've really done a lot of work to help get the city to where we're at currently. And my hat's off to him. He's got a great team. I know it's expensive, but decades and decades of deferred stuff, that's what you run into when you have to get updated. You have a huge cost that you incur, but they're getting us to where the city truly needs to be sustainable. So hats off to David and his team. Sidewalk and public space pressure washing.
Sorry, may I ask just one question about alleys before? we wrap?
Yes,
What
yes.
can be done to eliminate all the illegal dumping in our back alleys? We find furniture, mattresses, appliances.
So I'm glad you brought that up, Ramza. Last week on Tuesday, we installed our third and last deterrent camera. So my department purchased 3 deterrent cameras at the beginning of the year, and we have those. I'm not going to specifically say where they're at, but they're very public. They're very obvious. They're not hidden like flock cam. I mean, they're basically in locations where we have continuous illicit dumping and graffiti issues, and also one of the locations where we have people literally coming in the middle of the night, stealing the gates off of our ponding basins and unrolling our chain link fence and trying to steal hundreds of feet of fencing. So those 3 cameras are installed now. They take still pictures. They're amazing. They'll get a shot up to 100 feet of a license plate in pitch black. And so those are currently being used, and we're really hopeful that we're not doing it. We can't afford to constantly incur the cost of going out and cleaning these locations up. People are doing it knowing they shouldn't. We're not looking to just get everybody prosecuted at the extent of the law, but it's a deterrent camera. When the pictures go off, especially at night, it has a flash that's brighter than a bolt of lightning. And so it's kind of cool. It has an automated voice recording that basically says you're on private property or city property, you're dumping illicitly, you need to leave the area immediately. It voices that and it flashes. And a lot of the pictures you get are kind of as they're kind of running out of the area. So we're actually really hopeful they're going to work, because some of these areas are just, it's obsessive how much dumping's happening. The other good thing real quick on those is that they're removable. So we installed 3 telephone poles because there was no poles to mount the cameras in the locations that we currently have them. But once the deterrent starts and we get a period of time that we're not having the dumping, we can take the camera down and move it to another location. That's one of the reasons why we did that work. Code enforcement and public works are working at least 3 days a week, working on picking up alleys. Code enforcement is really good about notifying us about dressers, washing machines, refrigerators. I even had the fire chief call me a couple weeks ago. They had a refrigerator in an alley. Kids are all playing out there because it's summer break, and he was worried a kid was going to get stuck inside of a chest freezer or a refrigerator that was out there. So we went and picked it up. So we're working regularly on those.
Director Hahn.
Day one, yeah, I'm glad that you're bringing that up. We always have someone lost 20, 30 years. That's the problem. That's the biggest problem. Mr. Avalos is here. He helped me out a couple of times having people dump out the refrigerator right behind the yards, and then the city has to come out there and pay for it.
Right.
So I wish there would be a rewards program. Somebody turning in those people, get them really fined.
Right.
Well fined, that way they never do it again. That's the city. If you want to make our city better, you guys need to enforce. That's the one of the deal that you guys enforce ton of other stuff, but that one makes our beautiful, our city. We spending all this money on the downtown and everywhere, but that one really needs to be enforced. Number one issue, if I would, my opinion.
So again, Nick, we've been doing a lot of enforcement, code enforcement, cited quite a few residents. That's part of the battle with the whole thing in the alley zone. I have to go back and say real quick, when we first started the new contract with Mid Valley, we tried to get away from the alley. And I'm not saying, I don't care one way or the other. I do what I'm told to do, but a lot of the residents were calling us and telling us the problem is because they have their cans out there. People just come and dump their stuff right next to the garbage cans and just assume like, well, it's right there by their can. So Mid Valley will come by and they'll pick it up when they pick up the garbage. Mid Valley, if they can't physically grab the can, they pass that resident. And then the resident's calling us going, hey, they didn't pick up our trash. And then me or my supervisor goes out there and there's like a mattress and a refrigerator. And it's like, why didn't you call and have them pick up the bulky item for you for free? And they said, it's not our stuff. Somebody just stuck it there. So some of those deterrent cameras, again, I won't speak of specific locations, but we plan on moving them to a couple of the alleys that we have that are known really bad dump sites. One of them being in Salazar. It's really bad.
So I want to direct everybody back to the downtown conversation and get back to Rams's point about the alleyways in the downtown area. I'm looking at the Clean California grant. It looks like there's 35,000 a lot in graffiti abatement. And that's in collaboration with the Clean Selma Committee, right? Is that what that grant is? They're involved in this too, right? Their names are in it.
Beautification.
You're talking about the beautification
Yeah,
committee?
so back to Rams's point, I think is a good opportunity for some type of collaboration where there's cleanup, like alleyway cleanups in the downtown space. Using that 35,000 to, do we pay them? Do we buy tools? Like, what does that look like utilizing the Clean California grant to help our downtown alley?
So one of the things to keep in mind is this Clean California grant from the state is kind of based around the training center and the high-speed rail. This is a way for the state to get money to local municipalities to help in the promoting and training of youth that are coming up through the ranks that have gone through maybe the CCTV or CTVC training facility. So one of the main pushes on this grant is to fund labor costs for cleanup committees or for groups of staff, like people from the training center that have graduated the program, that you could bring out and actually pay them a wage to come up and help us paint over graffiti or weed abate an alley or pick up trash in the downtown area. That is one of the biggest pushes for getting this grant out there. So there, to your question, Director Moreno, there is money in there for funding wages to pay to have people come and help do this project, whatever that project may be, as long as it falls within the guidelines.
So
Thanks. That was, yeah, that was my point.
Pressure washing, whatever you train them, maintain the downtown space.
Yeah.
This grant money. And that's what creative and figure out what the next steps are. Like, do we come up with like a wish list? How do we collaborate on spending this money? Like, how does it move forward?
I think, going back to this as well, it reminds me of the time when I was on the Selma Healthcare District Board. And we as a board, came up with a grant for all those alleys in the city. So we started with the Barrio area. Each alley, we allocated a certain amount of money for all the alleys. At that time, it was COVID time, so a lot of people were dumping their mattresses and needles and just, it was horrible. So we allocated, we started with $10,000 and we found a person at that time who hauled a lot of junk. And actually at that time was Waste Management. Waste Management heard about it, they got involved, they wanted to be part of it. So they ended up, when we did each alley in the barrio, they put a roll-off at the end of each alley. So the company we hired at that time was a 1-800-HAUL-JUNK, whatever his name was. And they allocated a certain amount for how much each alley would cost once they went and looked into it. So it was less than $10,000 to do all the alleys in the barrio. It was called the SOS Clean Up Our Alleys in Selma grant. And then we did all the numbers, A, B, C, D street, the 2 weeks later, and then the other alleys. It was done really well. Maybe when you're talking about those high-speed rail kids or those with that graduate or whoever it is that comes in, maybe they just need to also get a third party who can haul, who drives, who's licensed, get them involved too, so they can haul out the real heavy stuff as well. That'd be a great idea.
Sure, there's a lot of options as far as what kind of a program we could initiate with this grant money. So I'm open to any suggestions, whatever anybody wants to throw out there on the table. Like, and again, this isn't, I mean, I'm administering this grant and working with Jose through it, but this is something for the bid committee to really jump in and have some teeth in. This is to benefit your area from High Street back to East Front. So a lot of the areas that we've spoke about after council meetings and other conversations. So
With that, Director Hahn, for the sake of time, can we move on to talking a little bit about the parking lots? I know parking's a big issue in the downtown space.
okay.
And I know there's some projects lining up behind Foster Freeze and the old Selma PD.
Yeah, and I don't mind moving right along, so thank you for that. So I can tell you that by direction of council, we started working on getting survey done for the existing PD parking lot at Old PD on Front and First Street. That survey was done and then that is currently in design. That's actually CDBG funds that will be used for modifying that parking lot. The city will, Public Works will do the demo of the existing CMU wall and saw cutting and removal of any of the concrete that needs to come out. But that will go out for bid very, very soon. I'm assuming that the design for that with Yamabe and Horn should be done close to the end of this month or the beginning of September. And then we should be able to go to bid for that one. That gives us an additional, I believe I counted 32 parking spaces in that lot. So it'll be 30 parking spaces and I believe 2 ADA compliant spaces. That will also include a new ADA ramp on that southwest corner adjacent to that parking lot. The second parking lot that Director Moreno speaking of is the parking lot on First and High Street. We already have direction, we already have funding to move forward with that. There will be some CDBG funds that'll be left over, hopefully from the old PD parking lot that we can use for the actual concrete that needs to be replaced for the center median and the big parking lot on High and First. The big trees are coming out of that planter. We're gonna be planting new trees in the new planter. Once the new curbing's done, there will be asphalt replacements there where the tree roots have been lifting the asphalt and heaving the concrete. So we're looking to actually get started on demoing out the trees and the concrete in the next month. So that's where we're at with that project. So for parking lots.
Mr. Hahn, great, you're gonna get the 300,000 grant and plus the 300,000 cities putting in matching funds. So we'll have a $600,000, correct?
Theoretically speaking, yeah. So we're reimbursed as we spend the money. I don't know that we'll actually spend the 600
Yeah.
grand, but yes, we have $300,000 in match funds there that's available for us.
From the bid input from me, I know we have a storm drainage major problem on a Second Street. All the time comes at the winters, we see the lots of water right by Silva and Second Street and all that. There's a big storm drainage problem. I know we don't have a storm drainage. If you could look into that, make sure Mr. Horn look into that to tie into the future drainage out. We have always major problem on there since we're doing all this project. And that way, if you guys spending this much money, make sure we
Sure.
don't get that problem in the future. That was one of my input, but this is great. Like Mr. Morano said, I think if you could have a prioritize, you don't have enough money. This is just like if you start fixing some of those ADA ramps, you're gonna run out this money quickly, just like that.
Right.
Each ramp's gonna cost you
Right.
over $50,000-$70,000.
Right.
And if you could prioritize some of these important things, that's from me. I would be really appreciate it.
Sure. So we look at any of the ADA ramps. We still have some Measure C funds. So that's not completely off the table yet. I heard that that's actually going to state legislator right now, or legislation group is talking about putting that on the state ballot in November because of the fact that a lot of counties are pulling out of that tax initiative. So we look at Measure C for ADA and sidewalk upgrades and compliant for all the ADA requirements. And I can tell you, I'm very aware of the storm drain projects. I met with Mohammed Alimi and David Horn last Tuesday and actually discussed the current CIP list for design and construction this year, design and construction next year. And I've already pulled a couple of those projects theoretically on Thompson for repaving because we only allocated 370,000 this year for storm drain repairs. And we can see that there's quite a bit more needed than that 370,000. So good point, and we are talking about it. We're working through where we can move those projects around. We still want to get our PCIs up, which is our pavement condition indexes, because we do get grant money by keeping our roads maintained. And so that's super important. After last year, Fresno COG went through and did all of that reporting and included us in that. So we have a new PCI index that we're trying to maintain. So, but we are looking at the storm drain issues most definitely.
The Measure C, Fresno County is having problems. Maybe we're not gonna get any more money, you never know.
We might not.
I'm just quickly going back to ADA for our downtown. There's a business here that constantly blocks and not, I think it's great. They're busy, especially on Wednesday nights, but I'm just gonna start seeing, I'm noticing that the sidewalks are getting blocked to the point where someone who's handicapped are not gonna be able to go through. So maybe we're gonna need to maybe be a little bit more creative, and I don't blame them. They're just putting a canopy to protect themselves from the sun. So we're gonna need to really think of something that will help. Maybe if it's awnings, I don't know. But maybe we could think of something like that because we don't want the city to get hit with someone coming. And we all know there's people out there that hit all the cities and restaurants and all that. And we don't need that to happen in our city. So maybe somebody's going to need to go out there after business hours and check on that and make sure that they're very aware that you cannot do that and block that whole area. And but I like that they bring a lot of kids and it's a place for them to go to and have nightlife time and something they enjoy. But at that same time, as a business, that's where we need to come in and try to be creative. And how can we help them with covering from the sun, or what can we recommend to so they don't have to be blocking that whole sidewalk like that? Yeah. So maybe we can think of that as well. Thank you.
Just want to follow up with that. Code enforcement's aware of the problem and they're going to address it. Yep. On that one. No. Yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up. I wanted to bring this to your attention because it was a future agenda item that was requested by the committee for you to be here. I really appreciate you laying this out. In our future meetings, we will discuss more in depth of what potentially is needed in the downtown space that falls within the grant, and maybe providing a list, like Mr. Sahota said, of, oh, here's our priorities of the bid. Like, this is what we want to see. Pressure washing, number one. Like, it could be anything, but I'm just throwing out ideas and maybe we can collaborate and see what that looks like. But now that we have a comprehensive picture of what we're allowed to kind of use that money for, it's very helpful. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good seeing y'all. Enjoy the rest of your meeting.
All right.
I'm reachable if anybody has questions.
Okay. Bid assessment fees?
Yes, this is another discussion item that has been presented in the past about looking at how the bid assessment fees are generated and exploring other avenues of how they can be assessed. If you're familiar with, I'm sure you all are familiar now, it's attached to your business license. It's 100% equal to the business license fee. This was established in October 17th of 2022 when the bid was developed, and that's been the fee since. It's pretty reflective of a lot of other downtown business associations. That's kind of what their structure is. But our finance staff has evaluated what other fee assessments would look like, and they have presented it in a spreadsheet. It's the attachment that Rams is currently looking at. That's the most current spreadsheet with some accurate numbers. I'm gonna let Heather take over and kind of lay out what they've assessed. And it's gonna consist of three options. One is the status quo, is doing what we've already done. And again, the business license 100%. The other option is to adopt a flat fee, whatever that flat fee may be. It's one flat rate for every single business. And the last option is developing some sort of tier structure where if you make a certain amount, this is what it is, and it just elevates from there. So I'll hand it off to Heather to kind of go over the Excel spreadsheet that she currently has in front of you um, to elaborate a little bit more how they came up with this.
Yes, okay. Good evening. If you take a look at the analysis, you can see on number one, the comparison, three scenario comparison. As Mr. Moreno stated, the first is what our current structure is set at. And this is just kind of a sample scenario of 80 known businesses that have paid and the projected revenue that we have for the fiscal year. And based on that current fee structure, the $16,103. If we went to a flat fee of an average, $200 per business, again, with the 80 businesses, we could look at the projected revenue at just under 16,000. And if we went to a four-tier, and we kind of just came up with between the director Breno and, well, both Director Morenos and myself, we came up with a tier, and instead of going with the was it 700 maximum, which is currently set at now, we just kind of went to 600, and we set up a baseline. If you look at the tier detail on the second page handout, again, this was just kind of something we came up with, the fees, the recommended fees, and our low and high, just based off of the businesses in our sample, the ones that have actually paid, and those that would fall into those brackets based on the gross receipts. And as you can see, in comparing those, if we were to go to that tier, the projected revenue would increase. And so we would actually have an increase of 3,675. But I think, did you want to?
In exploring what this like is that this structure was developed before I'm looking at my notes, before proposition took place, and our legal advice mentioned that if we do a change in the fee ordinance, because it is in our municipal code, it may trigger a tax required voter approval, because that's what Prop 218 has established. So when the bid was established, it was before Prop 218 came into existence. So if we decide to change what the fee structure looks like, I would have to dig deeper with our city attorney to see what that looks like. But I really did put a quote, an email I received. Any is an amendment to a tax which is required to be voter approved, otherwise it's void. So that's something that we have on the table as well. Well, looking at the financials of how it could affect the bid assessments and the money that we're generating. So again, this is a discussion item that we wanted to bring to the table, and Heather and I are happy to answer any questions that you may have about the three structures that we proposed.
So I have a couple of questions on that. The cost that it will take to put something on the ballot for voting might take away anything we would benefit from. The other thing is, I think we finally got the businesses in downtown to see a value in this, and you come and propose a new fee schedule in a way, and they're gonna start asking why and how come. And I have one more question is how do we calculate, because I'm not the one who paid the bill for my office. I'm thinking for service-based organization when we don't have really a gross sales receipt, because, you know, how are those assessed? Because in another way, are there businesses that feel it's unfair what they pay, or that it's miscalculated based on their volume of business compared to other people's volume of business? Like, what is the reason behind revising our fees? Are we feeling there's a benefit to that? And are we okay paying the cost of putting this on the ballot for voting? Because I'm imagining that's not going to be cheap.
At this point, it was requested to be like a discussion of what this would look like if it were a different fee structure. But I could see how some folks spending a little bit more may see other businesses paying less. And from my understanding, a service-based business is a flat $100 fee. So whether it's insurance or real estate or anything, I believe it's a $100 fee. That includes our banks as well. I believe our banks. Yeah, I believe it is our banks that are also paying $100 and it's in our ordinance. Yeah. So that's how that's calculated because they're not developing any gross receipts. And again, this was laid out in 2022 with our consultant when they developed the bid
Mhm.
and it was embedded into our municipal code at that time. So
So, on the percentage, how many businesses do we have that pay?
so just to give you an example, what you're seeing up there is 80
80.
known business, but that's just a sample. Like,
It's a sample.
yeah.
So out of the 80, you said 80, out of 80, how many have complained that you don't have, I mean, is it more than 10 people, less than 10 people? I'm just trying to,
It's hard to put a number on a complaint, but
on the fees only.
Jessica would probably be a better person who handles all our business license fees to have a
Okay.
better hold on that. But there are some times where I see comments questioning the value of the fee. I do see that comment, but Jessica has the more one-on-one engagement, whether that's phone call or email. So there are some folks that kind of question it, but I mean, it's outlined in the website. And I have a letter that was sent in 2022 from former economic development director that was sent to every single business. And it explained what this fee is and it laid it out for them. So it's not a new thing and it shouldn't be a surprise because we're
Right,
4 years later into what we're doing. But then again, taxes aren't always the most.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The 200 per business flat fees is kind of make me more sense. That way average seems like the same income revenue we getting in 16, 17 or whatever thousand. So when we have a flat fees, $200 for all the businesses, to me, I think as a business owner, that makes me more sense. That way everybody gets same charges on it. It's not based on whatever, because we're doing something improving our downtown, that money getting back to the people. So doing something on it. And I don't know if it's in our city ordinance, is that forever or is there limits to it? 5 year, 10 year? What is it? I just want to know.
It's there until we change it. So yeah, it
Oh,
would take an ordinance amendment to make that happen. And like I mentioned earlier, if we're amending that particular ordinance, then it could trigger Prop 218, which is a voter approved issue. If we're saying, you know, we're gonna include this, this, and this in a facade program, that doesn't require voter approval. Like, that's something that we can add in municipal code. And to add even more context, this discussion is a bid for, a conversation for the bid body, but ultimately the city council has the final say. Again, we're a recommendation body. We could say, hey, we recommend doing this. Everything still goes to council. Council still does everything. By us, even if it was an action item, we don't have the authority to make this into an action item. It's just, I wanted to provide the data for you guys to explore what other options look like. But
Yeah, I like the idea of a flat fee. Don't get me wrong on that, but I'm thinking if we do that and it triggers the voters' approval and it goes to vote and it doesn't pass, then we would have spent the money. That's my fear right here. It's like, I don't know if it's worth it to,
and if, again, look at the monetary difference would be $100.
It's only
So,
$100.
so that's the conversation I kind of just wanted to present. Thanks to our great finance team of doing the financial analysis aspect of it. So that you guys could see on paper really what it looks like. I think at the end of the day, to Board Member Robertson's point, is maybe us as a body find a better way for people who don't like the fee to make sure they're getting their value and their money's worth, like doing more things that show a comprehensive, wider downtown promotion.
Yeah.
So, and that's something that we're all constantly working on.
Okay, so I think honestly, if we're gonna, well, one, the cost of the election is a huge factor, but the $200 flat fee just seems ridiculous for the number of big versus small businesses we have. I don't think, well, you're gonna get a lot of smaller businesses complaining that, hey, my fee's jumping from my 100% license to $200, so it's gonna be a 400% increase. Whereas the larger businesses who are making more money are gonna have a, negative 20, or you're gonna have a negative 800% discount.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily the discount. I think it's more like our duty to express to businesses that are paying $700 extra, which is a significant amount, that, hey, you're paying that $700, but we're doing something for you. And expressing the value of that instead of saying, well, you just have to pay that. Like, it's more about expressing the value of what we do as the bid than, lowering the fee for anybody, because then we're really just, if we're lowering the fee for everybody because the price is there, or we're lowering the fee for people who are complaining because the price is too high, then our product isn't good. So that's what we need to consider instead of, because I mean, it's a big difference between $200 and an extra $50 for me who makes less than $100,000 a year in my business than people who are making, significant amount more. But we need to justify charging those businesses $700.
Just quickly, just thinking outside the box, whether this makes sense or not, for some of those that do pay higher amount, would those be the ones we could reach out to and say, if we move forward with a certain amount to go towards the ice rink, we can say, well, look, you can be possibly one of those that comes out and you could showcase your business. This is where we are. And depending if we can do it, it cuts half your price of what you pay because you're one of the higher ones. We go to the higher ones that pay. This is an opportunity for the year, what the bid's able to do for some of those that do pay a higher amount versus the other ones. I mean, I'm just throwing that in there with the showcasing of the ice rink. Maybe we could add that in the packet. I don't know, just something.
I think that's a good idea, figuring out a way to collaborate all the businesses, but the ones who are paying at the higher end, and just to echo that sentiment, I mean, eventually every business wants to get some kind of social media feature. And I have been over the past couple of weeks reviewing, now that I have a comprehensive list, from the finance department, I have been reaching out to those folks that are paying a little bit more and asking, hey, would you like a social media feature? We're doing this and this. So I have sent a handful of email to those folks to go back to your sentiment of making sure people are getting the value for the work that we're doing, whether it's a short video, whether it's inviting them to the event. We're really still working on that and hashing that out. But yes, 100% is that offering opportunities to all businesses, but also making sure that we have connections with those. And also expressing the value of the bid. I really want to lean and depend on you guys. You guys are on the community a lot. You're dealing with your folks, your business connections. I'm kind of in an office, but I am walking the streets, but I expect you guys to kind of help echo that sentiment of like, yeah, it's worth what we're doing. We're bringing events, we're bringing people. We have a lot of work to do still, but we're making progress, I should say, over the past 4 years.
I agree with that statement, and we are one of the higher payers, and we're not a big corporation, we're individual, and each store has to pay for itself. But I sit here and see what we do hard work for is this town in this community. And I think it's well worth what we're paying at this point. So I would be in favor of keeping it.
Just back to Mateo's, I think the universal taxes kind of makes in other towns like Ridley, they charge if something that they charge the flat fees for everybody. That way there's no up and down and there's nobody comes up argue on it. They downtown, you want to do a business in downtown, we are making improvements. This is what we charge beyond our license fees. And this is what we are charged for improving our downtown. So, and in my opinion, it's not necessary. Some of these businesses are like for real estate, I don't think their gross might be high, but their net profit is not based on not net profit. It's based on a gross profit. I mean, a gross sale. So, with a flat rate, yeah, it does, need, the boating but in my opinion, I think is that's all the other cities are charged. Maybe city could look into it. And, and that way everybody flat charges and everybody knows if you need to increase it, decrease every year. Based on that, is everybody gets the same charges? Yeah, I understand. I mean, business is business, so.
Yeah, just coming back for it too is like I just got done paying all my licenses from other cities. By far, I mean we pay $700 for the bid, but we also pay another $700 for the business license too. We're paying almost $1,500 for renewal. Compare what I paid in Reilly was $218, and what I paid in Madera was $400 for the same amount of sales. So I get the investment from the bid part, right? That, but we are also the ones that also participate the most too. As bigger businesses, that's just a realistic opinion too. We do participate quite a bit. Is that yes, there's a bigger business, but we also have massive overheads too, right? When you look at the brass tack at the end of the day, what people perceive that they're making so much and so much, they don't know the realistic expenses of a business either, right? Is that just look at minimum wage for example. If you go based off of $700,000 per year, you divide that by 12 months. What is that? $63,000, which is realistically is not hard for a restaurant, a coffee shop to get to, right? So yeah, okay, separate the stores that are doing X amount of millions for sale. But the thing is, the restaurants, and the small businesses in that downtown, they're also getting the benefit too, because all the events are downtown too. So if they're not capitalizing on the benefit of the bid, then that is a benefit too. But look at the businesses that are on the other side of the city too, right? They're not getting none of the benefits. So they lose on some of the part as like business license, right? So so when we come in to the city and we have the $1,400 fee, right? I'm pretty sure a lot of businesses are paying that much compared to a business that's paying $50. $50 and $1,400 is a massive difference. I would say maybe not do $200, but maybe do like 100 and 500, right? If they save 200 on that, and I know business licenses are not affiliated with a bid, but like even a bigger difference on that chunk makes a big difference of $400 a year, because we still have fire inspections. We have a bunch of fees associated with that too, right? So every single renewal counts. When you're looking at it, you're paying about $5,000 in just licensing. So the thing is, we get hit too. I get it on a business proportion that like, oh, it looks small, but a lot of small based businesses are high margin businesses too. right? Like a salon, for example. You know, it's just the actual work of the person, right? It's more on their actual knowledge of the work versus we as like if I were to sell this, right? People see the $2, but they think we're making $2 off of this. It's not the truth. We realistically make 7% on this. Out of that 7%, we have a lot of overhead too, right? And the same thing with restaurants. Mr. Baden knows that too, right? After, yeah, you have your X amount of margin, but at the end of the day, what are you really left with? Too. So there's things like that too that we should probably look at. If it goes into yes polling and stuff, then it's not worth it, right? Then putting that $20,000-$30,000 expense is not worth it. But if it's done able to be done without that, then I'd say maybe increase a little bit on their side. I'm not saying the 200, but maybe somewhere in the middle, like the free structure. That doesn't sound bad. That's just my 2 cents.
I think all this is all good points to think about, but again, if it goes back to the ballot, it's absolutely not gonna be worth
Yeah.
it. But again, at the same time, we're looking at all these grants that are gonna benefit, off of Second Street and West Front Street. They're gonna start getting something. So the ones that everybody wants to say that they don't benefit, they're gonna start benefiting, but it doesn't happen overnight. We have to go out there and look for these grants. I mean, this is what it's all about. And it's not just gonna be these grants. There's gonna be a lot of other stuff coming our way as well because of what we're doing. I, overall, this is all really good discussion to think about, because it's been something all new for all of us. So I just think it's a good conversation to think about and think outside the box of everything coming our way. Yeah.
So I definitely wanted to provide as much information as us in finance could gather. If you feel the need to want to put it on a future agenda item to make a recommendation to change it, we can do that at the end of the meeting. But I really want to just put everything out there for you guys to figure out what you guys want to do. With that, I feel like we should open up to public comment.
Public comment?
And I see no hands raised online either.
We do have an action item this evening.
Yes, we have one action item this evening, based on a previous meeting's request. We talked about the Food Truck Friday events. Again, I appreciate you guys working out there and serving beer at the beer garden. But you know how strenuous it could be on your back and moving the ice and putting the beer on the flat. This is basically a logistical aspect that make our operations better. It was asked to look into what it looks like to purchase the larger Arctic mobile coolers. Basically a really large ice chest that can roll out and have the beer in. Something that we can all use for future events, and we can also use it for other city events. But it's really, we really have 4 options here, and you'll look at the attachments that I provided. I'll just read through the list. It's an Arctic mobile cooler with the largest capacity at 288 quarters, the largest one, and that comes in at about $1,000. There's an Ice Saver Frost Box, and that's 100 quarts, it's about half the size. That's coming in at 256. We have a Rotocast Texas tanker, which is a large one again at 256, and that's $528. And then we have a significantly smaller one, but we've been using it at some of our events. It's 65 quarts, and that's $134. And I'm going to bring up the photos on the screen right now, just to make it easier for everybody to kind of see what we're talking about. And again, it's an investment for some of our future events, or actually maybe the ice skating rink if we decide to move forward with that. We have the opportunity to sell sodas, waters, and this is the larger one that's coming in at $999. And we're pretty familiar with this. This is the largest one that holds 288 quarts, and kind of to serve oh, I'm sorry, I misread that. That's just the less expensive one. And this is it right here, the big boy right here that we're all familiar with. That's very similar to what Donna G was providing, I believe. And I think they had blue ones. This is that larger version of it.
$9.99.
Yeah, $9.99. And then we have smaller versions. This is the 256 one that I showed you earlier. It's basically just a smaller version. It doesn't look like there's a lid with that. Looks like it's an open top. And as Ramsey know, that summer heat melts that ice very quick. So that's just something to consider too. I just wanted to present that. And the last one is the Rotocast, which is gonna be this one, and it's a dual one for 528, I believe. I believe that one's 528. And if we feel like we don't need something that large, we can continue to buy smaller ones, which was this one at 134, which is the ones we've been borrowing from the Robertson family. It comes in handy though. So we've been using these at some of our events, but these are significantly smaller and obviously less expensive. So it's just open to discussion, but there is an action item if we want to move forward with purchasing.
So there's just a couple of things that I would share based on my experience this past summer. Like you said, without a lid, we will lose the ice within an hour. So first thing, I think we definitely need whichever cooler we move with, they need to have a lid.
Yeah.
Remembering that we had several kinds of beer and probably other beverages and water, and potentially later maybe soda, whatever it is. I don't recommend us buying one very large one for everything, because then we would have to dive after finding our beer. So maybe multiple smaller ones, all uniform, very similar on wheels and accessible, so we can allocate, maybe we'll print on the side the picture of the beer that we're serving, and then we'll know each cooler what it does it have in it, and then it'll be faster for us to serve without trying to really find where's the beer in the bottom of that big O container. Just, that's just my point, so.
It's my understanding that the largest one has separate sections in it. It looks, it's hard for me to see, my eyesight's going bad, but I feel like this is one section and this is one section, right? Where it's split, where you can have the two selections of beers, or drinks. I believe the larger one is broken up into two compartments.
But
But-
honestly, still for the $1,000, like we can get 5 of the other ones. Sometimes power is a problem, though.
Power,
We don't have, you know, yeah.
Ice them down.
So if you're saying that.
and again, there's 4 options. The less expensive one doesn't have a lid on it. And I think that's coming in at 528, but it holds a larger capacity and it's,
256.39.
Yeah, I would.
yeah,
I
the
would say we can-
256.99 is the one without lid, and I don't know if that one has a compartment.
So maybe let's buy 7 of these.
Let me see.
Just like the one you have.
We have, but eventually they're gonna wobble. They're gonna,
The wheels.
they're gonna take.
The
they're gonna
wheels will-
Take a hit,
Yeah.
you know, so.
Yeah,
I
So-
was thinking the same thing, but that's why I had to stop you having them use mine because we're
yeah.
wobbling, so they're eventually gonna. And heavier.
This is the 256 one that's on the screen right now, but it's half the size of the largest one, so that's 100 quarts.
But no.
With no
So
lid.
can they get us a lid for that? Or I'm sure there has to be a model with a lid. I mean, in between. They don't,
Let me
they
check
just
real quick.
provide a lid for the very large one?
Let me check really quick. Let me pull this. I think we want,
But we
Are
wanted
they
them
tall?
with wheels. so-
because we want the one that are tall that have wheels.
Yeah, and tall, so we could.
We need that.
Burn, our back kills us.
Yeah, back.
Really kills us.
I don't see a lid with this one still. Looks like the only 2 options are, it's just open. So we can table this and we can come back with other options. If you want to give me options, we could do that too. Again, I just want to get
I mean, if we want to just start with these, you know, the 134, they look nice. They look a little more,
I'm thinking also the wheels could be replaceable. They don't look like they're permanently attached, so if they got to that point, we could replace the wheels.
I'm trying to think about, I think I purchased those about 10 years ago. So they will last.
Yeah.
It's just,
We
I
get
just,
10 years out of this, we get our money worth. I
but
think.
we really just took a toll on them, just
Yeah.
as, but they were already old.
Right.
So I think if we want to go down this route, we may be okay for some time.
Hmm.
You know, and we're making money by selling the beer. So we're bringing in the revenue. As you see, we make $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 just selling one of the events, minus your beer, minus your ice.
For clarity, you guys are liking this one up here? Is that the one I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. It looks more, and that one looks much thicker and nicer
Sturdy.
than mine.
Yeah.
So I think we may be okay with those if we want to go down that route.
And again, that holds 65 quarts.
And we could do them individually, like each beer, put, that would really help.
Want to do 4? Or
These ones right here? They're like this with wheels and everything, yeah. If we want to show us those.
229? Is that what you sent me?
The 5 quarts.
Yours are bigger?
Yes. Yeah.
One second. What? There it is.
Oh, that's it, right? So even if we got 4 of those, it's still cheaper than the 9,000 one, and we can do them individually. They look really nice. Oh, yeah, that's great right there. I think 4. Mm-hmm.
Reality, even if we move the divider in the half, that means we can serve 8 different types.
And we get 8 different types at least,
Yeah.
but we need one full one for the Sanchas. I mean, like, I'm just using that
Yeah.
as an example. Those are the big hit. And you gotta have one full of those that go immediately
And one
quickly.
for water, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's open up to public comment.
One of our workers right here. Yeah. Every event.
Brian Maris. So as one of the volunteers who stays from beginning to end, this is a huge game changer. So thank you for bringing this up. But also as somebody who works, not only I used to work at a restaurant, but I currently work in food service. I would suggest the other ones. They're a lot thicker. They're a lot more sturdier. As Ms. Robertson said, you'll get a lot of good use out of those. We use those in the cafeteria. This is the same kind of material. Not only does it keep it cool, but they also have some for hot, but they're really good, those. Not only that, but I believe on the height, they're about this height, so you're not breaking your back, like bending down or anything like that. So they're a good height as well. And they're, yeah, you can tell by the wheels, they're pretty sturdy. And also there is, I believe in Fresno, I think it's called Restaurant Depot. So you might want to check them out. I know, like I used to work at Sal's and we got a lot of our equipment there as well. So maybe they might have something like that similar where you can actually see it in person. But
I haven't seen honestly anything recent. We shop at Restaurant Depot
Oh,
for
okay.
both of our places.
Yeah.
I haven't seen those, but I can try to pay attention next time I'm there, so.
But yeah, for recommendation, I like this one. I know it's a little costly, but you're really gonna get your money worth, definitely. Thank you.
Thing is, we would be so limited. I mean, my opinion, again, I'm not trying to impose my opinion on anyone, but the fact that this is $1,000, we can't say, oh, let's go purchase 4 of these. That's my only concern, is that we do need several of them, and maybe the option that Karan sent would be like a happy medium, because they are larger. Yeah, it's not gonna be as tall as this one for 135. You can see it on,
About
but
one
if you
big,
don't mind opening that one back, you
Oh, I
could
got it.
see, oh, sorry.
about one big, too small. How about one big one? So you got the two different sizes, the 256 quarts, I think that's what they were showing. And the 456, they're not even showing the big one. That's 256, right? For the 999.
This is the small one. Yeah, the nine
How
ninety-nine
much
is.
is the 456 is out of
Oh,
control.
it's not too bad, but.
Okay, it's not double. It's
Yeah.
almost double in volume, but
This
it's
looks
not
shorter,
double in
though.
price.
That's low, that's low.
There,
Yeah,
yeah, is there height
that looks
description,
low.
dimensions?
Have a suggestion.
We need the height.
Oh, look at it tells you how many cans too. Right here?
Go back up. Length,
36
height is,
height.
3 feet.
36, that's low.
So is that 3 feet to the top?
Yeah, that's the.
So the other one's
So
2
that-
inches taller. The other one's 2 inches taller at 38 inches.
Which one? Which one's higher?
This one that we're looking at,
It's
right?
only 2 inches,
This one's higher?
2 inches taller.
just 2 inches.
That's why it's so much more expensive. It's so much
This
more
one's
useful.
lighter. It's
I mean,
all
it's
about
the
bending.
back.
It is.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference, so.
I can go back and check the Amazon one, but it looked pretty low. 27 inches.
And as one of the beer stockers, I know it gets going really fast back there, as many of us know. And you gotta be reaching, pulling
Right.
constantly.
Yeah.
It's just a lot faster to have something that's closer to shoulder height.
How about the one for 134.99? How high is that? Because I think that's gonna be your tallest.
I feel like 2 of those and then an igloo would do.
I
would
think you want to
good
be
for what we do.
consistent.
Two of the,
2 of the
and one
taller
of
ones, the ones like you guys have, and then one of the igloos, because it would.
big one that's tall.
Yeah. So the taller ones, the cheaper.
This
ones.
is 32
Yeah, but
inches.
The other one that's. I get those two.
Well, it's actually all in it's also in the agenda. Sorry.
Is that the same height as the mine? Ones that,
It's 32.
It should be the same exact height as the one you own, yeah. They're pretty standard.
because
Yeah.
that was a good height. That was,
Sorry. I think
No.
the agenda had the actual sizes in there. I gotta go back. Yeah,
Yeah,
it has the
it
height on
does.
all of them, yeah.
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 And they're heavy.
Anything higher.
So I leave it to the board to decide which variety to get. It has the capacity quart and it has the dimensions and it has the price list right next to them, so. The tallest one is the most expensive one.
I think if we're mirroring for what we're doing, one of the igloos and then 2 of the nicer, like these would be what we would want to do. Unless there's any reason to get a bigger one, but I think one of the igloos would cover for most of because then you have 4 sections in there. And then you also have the 2 more to be serving out of, so you'd only have to restock these as you're going and then the person who's there grabs from the side instead of having to go back and pick them up.
which one do you say?
So one of the igloos and then 2 of these ones. Yeah, they worked really good.
Let me see that one real quick. I'm not finding it. Oh, this one, this one.
Yeah.
These are, I agree, but I think we should go three of these.
3 is fine, but yeah,
Three and then the igloo.
that igloo is gonna be a game changer. That's a lot of space.
Sometimes
That'd be a lot.
we sell, waters that
Yeah.
we have to, there's some really hot days and we need to, make sure.
Stella Ramirez, I'm gonna throw something out there. It's on my wish list from experience. Can we order along with that a box of gloves? Plastic gloves or something, the kind you use like to clean or something, because when you put your hands into that ice over and over and over, my hands were like frozen. And we need something like that, like put gloves on. That way they can go ahead and dig in and get the beers and stuff out. Because I tried it one time, like I said, and my hands were numb, but I want to know if we could do that. put, like, order like aside from this, a box of gloves or something for a special material. Uh-huh. So that way when we dig into the ice, we don't dig into it with our bare hands, because after a while, you start feeling it, you know? And yeah, it gets pretty hectic out there when you got a line going and you keep on digging your hands in. And I think that gloves, some gloves, long gloves up to maybe your elbows would really, really help. I don't know, that's what it just,
I was stiff every night. Yep, I know exactly what you're
well,
talking.
my arthritis, so. So I'm throwing that out there. I don't know if that's possible or not.
Good. It was.
So what's the consensus that you guys want to do?
So
have a
I'll make,
question.
oh, go
Sorry,
ahead.
One, sorry. So on this one, it says that it holds up to 121 cans. Do we know on the one for 134.99 roughly? I'm trying to gauge like how many we need of those, if we would know. Because I'm looking, I didn't see it. I'm sure it's here somewhere, but I'm not finding it.
It doesn't have the can count for that
It
one,
doesn't.
Okay,
just the dimensions. The larger one has the can count.
right.
That has the can count. I think it says right here. Number of cans, it's 144 cans.
Again,
So divide that by a case.
The largest one holds 370 cans. That's $1,000 one.
I'm trying to think if we're probably gonna need 3
Yeah.
of this one. If each can hold roughly about 75 cans, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
What this has.
plus the igloo, then we are cooling about 500 cans. What was our highest sale
I can't recall at the moment.
per?
Yeah, I don't remember how many cans we sold.
I'm just trying to see if we're gonna, So I figured it was like if we did 75. So yeah, we would need at least 3 of the black ones that are at 134.99 and 1 igloo.
is that a motion?
I make a motion for that,
All right.
if everybody is in.
I'll second that.
Or 3 of the
That.
roller ones and 1 igloo.
Yeah. Got it.
Okay.
One igloo, right? Igloo? Okay.
1 igloo.
I got it.
All right.
And if you do find something for gloves, I mean, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, I definitely think it's
just something.
it's important to drain the water. I think when the water's in there, it makes it worse. You should really just drain the water constantly. But yeah, we'll definitely look for gloves.
Yeah.
So I have 3 black ice chests, the elevated ones, and then the 1 igloo. That's correct?
Correct.
Yes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Rosa, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion carries. Staff updates?
Yeah, a couple of updates. I plan to start working on the website very soon. The website development is pretty straightforward, pretty easy. I'm really looking into figuring out how we can make a directory where it shows all the businesses and using a search bar. So you type in tires and it shows you all the downtown businesses that sell tires. I'm kind of working on what that looks like. As far as our Halloween or our fall decor, I reached out to Elm Feed Store. They sell haystacks for a very affordable price. I think it's $12 for potential haystacks. I reached out to the FFA program to see what pumpkins look like. And I reached out to the Reedley Pumpkin Patch too. I can't remember the name of it right now. Hillcrest, and they said that they don't get any pumpkins until later. So I have a couple of vendors I could potentially work with to generate some pumpkins and some haystacks for the fall decor and the tree wells. So that's coming along. The trash can project, I really want to see what it looks like if we can use some of this grant money to potentially pay artists who are gonna do work on the trash cans. I'm gonna connect with Director Hahn to see what that would look like because there is money in there for artistic elements in the downtown space. So I really want to find a way to pay artists since their work should be valued and they should get paid as well too. So Those are the things from the last meeting that I've been kind of working on. But I really wanted to bring other departments in today to kind of, for you guys to ask the questions that I am not able to answer. So that's the only update I have.
Thank you. Future agenda items for next, future meetings?
I like to put on the agenda, if it goes forward with council and they're looking out for, people to sponsor for the ice rink, I would like to look at sponsoring between 20 and 25,000, from the bid. I did a calculation of what we have, and that's even, I calculated about 10,000 for, I didn't know what kind of, what route we were gonna go with these ice, these igloos and stuff, and we're still at, after subtracting even less than that, we're gonna be still in the two somethings in our financial balance. So I like to have that on the agenda. Now that we didn't go past 10, I like to do 25,000, put on the agenda. And then also do either a flat rate, come back and either do a flat rate of 200 or if somebody else has something else, if we don't need to put it on the ballot, I'd like to go ahead and look at that. But if it's gonna have to go on the ballot, unfortunately, I'll feel that it's not even worth doing. So I will like to get that information if it will have to go on the ballot before we actually put it on the agenda. Thank you.
Had died or still working?
So the actual grant has been rewritten on my part. I've done that work. There is an element that's added where Director Han is looking for contractors that will work at prevailing wage. And this is the list that we're giving to businesses to say, here are contractors you can work with, so that they don't have to do the legwork. I'm waiting on Director Han to make those contacts and provide me that list of contractors. That will then be the last piece that goes into the grant. But the grant has been adjusted, no matching rate. It expands to paint and other things now. It's more expansive. It's way easier to understand. But the last piece is the contractors that do prevailing wage work. So that's something that Director Han's been directed by council to look into.
Is that the one that has the 10,000 as well, or they still have to approve that? Or did that go through us already?
So it came through us as a recommendation to council. It has to go to council still, and then there has to be an ordinance amendment to it because that lives in the ordinance. So that's an ordinance amendment, which takes 2 hearings and a vote from council, I believe. But I can't move forward until I get those contractors in, and so that we know, here's the list of contractors you can work with. And I think Director Han's doing some kind of connection with them. I can't recall what he's working on.
But if I'm understanding correctly, if it all goes through, it'll basically tell, a person who wants to fix his whole facade, and he's basically gonna be able to do up to 10,000, no matching anything. Here's up to 10,000, but these are the contractors you have to use. That's how it would work. If it all goes through the 2 hearings, through council
Yes.
vote, and all that, right? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, but these aren't the contractors you have to use. These are contractors that pay prevailing
Prevailing
wage that you
correct.
can use. If you have your own prevailing wage contractor,
You're
you're free
good
to
to.
use them. But I think the biggest hurdle of small business owners is they don't have connections to contractors that could do that work like readily. So Director Han's been given direction by council to find some that we can share with those people.
And then also, there has to be, eventually, hopefully it gets really easy and then you get business people that are applying. But if nobody applies again and everything goes clear and still nobody's applying, then we have to start looking at what route to go with that $100,000. So, I mean, hopefully we can recommend council to do something with that as well. Thank you.
Last 3-4 years in. That was the major thing that. There's like a Perminder's doing his upgrade. I was not gonna make it for them, and the laws, I don't know if there's any of that, will do it or not, but. With the land. Do it higher, it's your responsibility. So,
think if there's any money, I think we've talked about this in the past, is that if there's any money being allocated, it has to be prevailing wage. I think we've talked about it. Yeah. But in the future, for other things, there are opportunities that another nonprofit could handle the grant. Let's say like, for instance, in Fresno, it's the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. They're given money by the city. They manage the grant. There's not, they're able to allocate at their expense because they're a nonprofit and they're a separate entity. They're not the city. Yeah, so in the future, if something like that comes around, maybe we work under those conditions of a nonprofit or a chamber or a downtown association being able to handle that. But the reason that we're a city entity, we have these hurdles that are attached to the work that we're doing. Yeah, so.
Right, all right,
Sorry.
right.
There's your connection.
Any other business tonight? If not, I'll adjourn the meeting at 7:36.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.